temperatures are just right. Yay, our future looks bright indeed, for this refrigerator actually keeps food fresh.
Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Hurricane at 26.3 north, 72.9 west. That's centered about 640 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, located right here. Highest winds continue 115 miles per hour, and that is good news. It hasn't strengthened. However, 115 miles per hour is still a major hurricane. As I mentioned, that movement to the northwest at 6, and the barometric pressure hasn't changed all that much today. However, as the motion has started back up to the northwest, watches have been posted, and this is where we see hurricane watches in effect currently from Savannah, Georgia, right on up through the North Carolina, Virginia border. What does this mean? Well, it means that hurricane conditions could be seen within 36 hours, and as the hurricane gets closer to the coast, some of these watches could be changed to hurricane warnings. However, what this means is you shouldn't panic. It means you should just be prepared for hurricane conditions. Think about what you're going to do, get supplies, go to the store, get some water, batteries and such, and then be prepared in case a watch is issued for your area. In the Bahamas, the hurricane warnings and the hurricane watches have been lifted, and now we simply have tropical storm watches for the northwestern and central Bahamas. As the hurricane continues to cover a large area, it's produced a lot of swells, those swells reaching the coast and causing significant surf. High surf advisories continue in effect from the Jupiter Inlet area of Florida right on up through Cape Hatteras. Let's show you what's going on with the hurricane itself. Here's the coast of Florida, the Bahamas. Looking to the east, the hurricane center right here. But remember, the strongest winds are right around the center. However, hurricanes can extend outward several hundred miles, and in this case, tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 200 miles to the north and east. Most of the stronger winds extend farther out on the east side as opposed to the west side of this hurricane, and that's usually very typical. Hurricane force winds extend out quite a few miles as well. What's going to happen with this? Well, as we show you a larger perspective from the southeastern coast, what we're watching is a trough up here. You can see the clouds associated with that, and also trough in the northern plain states. And as those swing down, they certainly appear to be affecting the course that is lifting this thing up just a little bit more to the northwest. That northwestern motion is expected to continue here for the next 12 to 24 hours, and if it continues beyond that, it's going to be getting closer and closer to the coast. So again, if you live in that watch area, be prepared, pay close attention to what happens overnight and tomorrow with Hurricane Bonnie, and be prepared to take actions if any of your local officials suggest evacuations and such. In the meantime, farther on toward the east, a brand new tropical storm to talk about. Tropical Storm Danielle, upgraded from a depression, formed this morning into a tropical depression. The particulars, 14.4 north, 38.8 degrees west. That's centered about 1,400 miles east of the Lesser Antilles being the Windward and the Leeward Islands. Highest winds at 40 miles per hour, and it is pushing toward the west-northwest at 21 miles per hour, so pretty good clip on that tropical storm. That motion is expected to continue with strengthening, and so we'll continue to watch it, but if you live in the islands here, you have plenty of time to see if it stays on that course or lifts north or actually moves south. Right now, it looks like that west-northwestward motion is going to continue. Again, here are the Lesser Antilles out here, right through here, and the tropical storm right out there. Again, 15 degrees north latitude right here. Farther on toward the east, things are kind of quiet. Again, this system, that's Tropical Storm Danielle pushing on toward the west. The Caribbean Sea, we're watching this tropical wave, a strong one pushing westward. Right now it has not shown any signs of development, though it is bringing some squally weather to Puerto Rico and parts of the U.S. Virgin Islands here. It's going to continue to push to the west, could strengthen, and it could become a depression in the next day or two. The Gulf of Mexico is quiet off the west coast. Continue to watch Howard. Hurricane Howard pushed to the west-northwest, and it is continuing to push in that direction. That's expected to continue with some slow strengthening. There is active weather along this front. We'll talk more about that in Weather Center, along with the latest on Hurricane Bonnie. Stay tuned.
Surfers are enjoying the early effects of Hurricane Bonnie as we continue to track the path of this strong storm. The latest on Bonnie, plus your weather ahead on Weather Center.
The sun is rising.
It's a great day for the comfort and convenience of changing tint Transitions lenses. Indoors, they lighten. Outdoors, they darken. So lightweight plastic Transitions lenses are right in any light. Make the change to Transitions lenses and see for yourself.
It's a great day.
Transitions lenses, right in any light and right for you.
This is one of those new Volvos with all-wheel drive, right?
Yes, it's our newest safety feature, designed to help keep you out of an accident.
So how come you don't put it on all your cars?
All our cars.
Like Subaru does.
Subaru.
Every Subaru we make comes with the safety of all-wheel drive. Every wagon, every coupe, every sedan.
So only one Volvo has all-wheel drive, but they all have cup holders.
Yeah.
Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Test drive the beauty of all-wheel drive at a Subaru dealer near you.
Whether it's Iowa corn or Louisiana cotton, John Deere knows about harvesting. So for a change, we had our engineers make something disappear. After all, somebody had to get mulching right. Introducing the Freedom Mulching System. While some may be impressed by its patents, we think you'll like the way it works on wet grass and leaves. Because although the problem...
Hurricane Bonnie over the Atlantic Ocean, moving painfully slow, but still moving toward the United States. I'm Dave Schwartz with this edition of Storm Watch, sponsored by Home Depot. Let's start off in the tropics, then we'll have a look at some severe weather here in the States. Our tropical update, we lead off with Hurricane Bonnie, latest position, strength, as of 8 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. They're flying in and out of this thing all the time. There is a reconnaissance plane, the Hurricane Hunters. You may have read about them in the newspaper. They fly in and out of these things, huh? What a job, huh? 26.7 north, 73.1 west, placing the center of the eye 615 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras, right here, Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, south-southeast of there, packing still winds of 115 miles an hour, and still it's moving very slowly at 6 miles per hour. And everybody wants to know, where's this thing going to hit? When is it going to hit? Well, we think that this basically northwest to north track will continue over the next 24 hours, which would bring it maybe somewhere in here. And when I see you tomorrow night, people are going to say, when is it going to hit? Where is it going to hit? The upper level winds that drive these things, actually the mid-levels, that drive these things are very weak. At upper levels, they're coming out of the west. At lower levels, they're coming out of the east. So that's why this thing has been moving so slowly. Pressure 962 millibars. It really hasn't changed much in intensity over the last day or so. Now, hurricane watches are in effect. That's for you, the entire coastlines of North Carolina and South Carolina. What does that mean? That means that hurricane force winds are possible between now and 36 hours from now, which would be Wednesday morning. Okay? Possible by Wednesday morning. And by the looks of things, it would be Wednesday morning rather than now. It looks like we're okay for the rest of the night, definitely okay. Tomorrow the sun will be out across the Carolina coast, but then we expect that showery and windy weather could start as early as late tomorrow night and into Wednesday, the way things are looking right now. Will the eye wall hit the coast with the strongest winds? Impossible to say at the present time with this thing just kind of meandering around. Hurricane tropical storm watch is now in effect for the northwest Bahamas, not because this is a tropical storm, but because if you're on the left side of the track, and this is moving this way, if you're on the left side of the track, the winds are lighter. So tropical storm force winds are possible here. And this has also been churning up some very heavy surf. I understand a couple of people lost their lives in dangerous rip currents off the New Jersey coast this weekend. Lots of folks out at the beach, Labor Day weekend coming up, plenty of sunshine along the East Coast. These heavy surf and dangerous rip currents will be back, not only here, but all the way up the East Coast. That is the major threat to the United States from this right now, heavy surf. Today, the rest of today, and tomorrow. Where's the eye? Kind of hard to find. This thing is kind of struggling. As I said, those winds at the upper levels have been westerly. At lower levels, everything east, and that has kept this kind of stationary or very slow moving. When I last saw you on Saturday, the center of this thing was here, 300 miles away. It's moved 300 miles in 2.5 days, a very slow mover. But we believe that as this, slowly but surely, gets closer to these strong westerlies, and we expect these to drop southward by midweek, that will serve to pick this up and pull it out. How close to the coast does it get before it gets pulled out? That is one big, big question. No surprises here. We've got all the angles here on Hurricane Bonnie, and we'll let you in on it. As you can see, no clouds in association with this, no rain for hundreds of miles away from the United States coast. And by the way, if you're watching from Miami, anywhere in South and Central Florida, it's looking better and better for you folks. That we will not be hit by anything. At this point, that's the way it looks. Further out in the Atlantic, there's another tropical storm, that is Danielle, 40 mile per hour maximum sustained winds. And off the African coast, well, a quick look at nothing. That's Tropical Storm Danielle. In the Gulf of Mexico, we're showing all clear. Here's Bonnie, of course. There is another tropical disturbance here. As Bonnie heads north, this may become a player over the next several days in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll keep you posted on that. And Hurricane Howard, still a Category 3 hurricane in the Pacific, moving away from land, however, packing 120 mile per hour winds. That's your tropical update. Now it's back to the United States for a look at severe weather. And there's the threat of that for southern Indiana, parts of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and even into New York. We'll check that out on radar after this.
Hurricane Bonnie continues to churn in the Atlantic and make waves along the East Coast. We'll update its progress and have the national outlook just ahead on Weather Center.
This program was sponsored by the Home Depot.
As a customer, you're so important to us that you should have the best price all the time rather than just sometimes when other stores think it's convenient for you.
Home Depot doesn't have sales because we have an everyday low price.
The competitors have to have the sales because they jack their prices up so high. But we keep our prices low every day.
That weather and some storms to tell you about, including the threat for severe weather in parts of the Midwest. We'll have more on that coming up in just a moment. But first, it's time for our tropical update. We want to give you the very latest on Hurricane Bonnie. And the latest coordinates as of 11 p.m. have Bonnie centered at 27.2 north, 73.1 west. That puts the center about 585 miles south-southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. The maximum sustained wind still 115 miles per hour. We are seeing the movement now to the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. So it has increased a bit. It was 6 miles per hour, now moving at 8 miles per hour, and was moving to the northwest, now the north-northwest. That general motion expected to continue into Tuesday. The pressure 962 millibars. We still have those hurricane watches in effect from the North Carolina-Virginia border to Savannah, Georgia. So that means that the possibility is there for hurricane conditions within 36 hours. So again, those watches still in effect. We also have tropical storm watches in effect for the northwestern and central Bahamas. Additionally, heavy surf advisories are in effect for parts of the Georgia and Florida coast from Savannah, Georgia, back to Jupiter Inlet, Florida. High surf already occurring. It will likely get worse, and also to the areas to the north under the Hurricane Watch, you too will have heavy surf and dangerous rip currents to contend with. So while the weather might be nice for some of you at the beach, it might not be such a nice time to get into the water. So look out for that. Again, it's something to take very seriously, the rip currents and the high surf. So again, maybe not the greatest day to head out into the water. A look at the satellite view, and here's what we're seeing with Bonnie here. And again, we're continuing to watch it here, moving off to the northwest. And as to its ultimate track, again, we will continue to monitor it, and the best advice we can give you, just keep checking back in with us, and we will continue to keep you updated on the latest on what the forecast is for Hurricane Bonnie here. But you can see it again on the satellite view. We will keep you posted. As we check out what else is going on in the tropics, we have Tropical Storm Danielle, which is now centered at 14.9 north, 40.7 west, about 1,350 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. That's where it's centered. Winds 40 miles per hour, west-northwest movement at 21 miles per hour. The pressure 1,005 millibars, and there is the possibility that we may see further strengthening with Danielle too. So we'll have to keep an eye on that also. And again, just another perspective here on Danielle. Into the Caribbean and the Gulf we go, a wave moving through the eastern Caribbean that we'll continue to keep an eye on. And into the Gulf, we don't see much going on here, and not a whole lot going on in the western Caribbean. And again, once again, this is Hurricane Bonnie here. We'll continue to watch it. Keep checking back in with us. We'll keep you updated. So that's it for the Atlantic. Let's head over into the Pacific, and Hurricane Howard, which is expected to go through a gradual weakening trend here. The wind still 125 miles per hour. Movement off to the west-northwest at 13 miles per hour, and that pressure at 960 millibars. Again, a gradual weakening trend expected, although it's still quite impressive right now. It will eventually encounter some cooler waters, and again, that would lend itself to a weakening trend. Well, that's it for the tropics. Let's take a look at what's going on as we head back inland. And we've got some rain and some storms out there. As a matter of fact, the threat for severe weather exists here in parts of the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. As a matter of fact, we do have a watch in effect. It is a severe thunderstorm watch. Iowa, Illinois, southern Wisconsin, severe storms including large hail. We've had golf ball size hail reported with some of these storms. Of course, the heavy amounts of rain, the lightning, and the strong damaging winds, a possibility for you here too. So that's, again, something to take rather seriously as we head into this region, because we've seen one round of storms moving through earlier today, these pushing off to the east, and now round number 2 here, eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. That's where the roughest weather is anticipated. And again, this is a look at the big picture out there. Rain and storms still here, especially watching this area, but also some wet weather to the south around Del Rio. More rain is just what you don't need. Well, stay tuned. Coming up next on Weather Center, we'll have more details on Hurricane Bonnie. Don't go away.
Hurricane watches are posted along the southeast coast as Hurricane Bonnie continues its trek. Find out where the storm may be headed, plus your weather ahead on Weather Center.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you to help keep